Islam Makhachev will beat JDM. There's a lot on the line for Makhachev here. We know how MMA fans get. You have one loss and your whole legacy comes into question. You know it's going to be a lot of discourse about, oh look, you're not fighting a featherweight or an old lightweight. Of course you lost. I know exactly how this goes. There's more on the line for him than there is for JDM, and it usually isn't that way. There's more pressure on the guy who weighs more and not the guy coming up to challenge him. But Islam's going for all-time GOAT status. I also went back and forth on this fight up until recently. Now I'm very confident that Makhachev wins this. JDM's performance in that Bilal fight was very impressive, but Islam is a whole nother challenge. I think this weight thing can sometimes be blown out of proportion, especially when you're as skilled as Islam is. He's a pretty good sized lightweight and he's one of the most skilled fighters ever. He'll be fine at welterweight. Volk's not a big guy, but when he moved up to 155 in that first fight against Makhachev, his skills kept him in that whole fight. Topuria just dominated Oliveira, and we saw Oliveira come back fast just a couple months later against Gamera. He's not washed. Oliveira is not washed. So I'm not worried about the size difference. Also, it's not like JDM is some massive welterweight who should actually be a middleweight. That's not what's happening here. I think what Makhachev is going to try and do is just impose his will gradually throughout the fight. I'm stronger than you, I control where this fight goes, and I can do whatever I want. Now, I actually think that is JDM's best chance, because from what I've seen, he usually doesn't panic. He's not afraid of getting taken down. Just look at the Gilbert Burns fight. He was on his way to losing, but he pulled it off. So, JDM certainly has a good chance to win this fight. I don't think the odds should be as lopsided as they are. It is a close fight. But certain fighters gain this, I hate even using this word, but certain fighters gain this aura of invincibility. I think Usman had it in his prime where I just couldn't picture him losing to somebody until he actually lost, right? Until Leon actually knocked him out. I just couldn't see it happening. I understand that Islam has been knocked out in the past, but it's so far removed that I don't even really take that into consideration. He has that aura of invincibility right now for me. I'm confident that Islam can and will do enough to win a decision against JDM. So the question is, can Jack knock him out? And I just don't see it happening. I think some people question his chin because he's been knocked out before, but Islam gets hit in his fights, and his chin holds up. Poirier was landing good shots, and he has the ability to put people out cold, and Islam was fine. So Islam up a weight class, not having to cut all that weight, and we've all seen how tough that weight cut is for him. I think that weight gain is going to help his chin hold up even more. Now let me break this fight down. I do think Islam in round 1 comes out patient, very aware of JDM's power. Although, like I said, I think he can take those heavy shots. He has no reason to play into Jack's game, especially at the beginning when he's fresh. I think JDM starts aggressive and doesn't worry about the takedowns early. He has the confidence that he can stop the takedowns, or if he does get taken down, he has the confidence that he'll get back up. I think Islam feints a lot early. In the second round, I think Islam tries to wear him out against the cage, but also strikes just to keep him honest. I think round 2 is going to be all about control for Makhachev. Round 3 is where I think Makhachev's takedowns will be successful, and he'll attempt submissions to get the fight finished. JDM is going to have to attempt some explosive scrambles so this fight doesn't get away from him. And obviously the risk for JDM here is that all that energy spent on stuffing the takedowns, all that energy spent on sprawling, all the energy spent on these explosive movements to get back up, it's going to diminish his energy. With Makhachev up on the scorecards in round 4, I think Jack's going to play right into Islam's game, and he might have to try some wild things to get the fight back in his favor. But we know Islam tries to finish fights though. So even if he's clearly up, if he sees JDM is tired, he'll go for that finish. So I think Makhachev gets a submission victory in round number 4. In an attempt to get back in the fight, JDM's going to have to take a risk. And I think Islam is just too smart of a fighter that he'll take full advantage of whatever mistake Jack commits. This fight just means so much more to Makhachev. He would be a 2-division champion, and he's no longer just Khabib's protege, which he already isn't. I don't consider him that anyways. And as much as he talks about how he doesn't like the comparisons between them, they will always exist. And I think this victory would put him ahead of Khabib for a lot of people. He might already be ahead of Khabib, but I think this would solidify it. He would be in GOAT conversations. Also, that whole thing about his best victories being former featherweights, well, now he would have a win over the current welterweight champion. So that narrative goes out the window. and he's in position for basically any fight he wants. The super fight between him and Topuria is in play, and so is a fight against some of the other welterweights. Makhachev would be undeniable after this victory.